Welcome back to the Smooth Live Show with your host, Paul Toothpicks Coory. Before I meet our guest today, make sure you hit the subscribe button below and be sure to check us out on our socials on Instagram and Facebook at SmoothJazz.Melbourne. Bassist, composer and band leader, founder of the Groove School Band, Big New York Jazz and Funk Extravaganza, and the Big New York and Smooth Jazz All-Stars, Christian de Mesones, as they call Big New York. Welcome, Christian.
Hey, man! It's a pleasure to be here tonight on a nice Saturday, man. We're having the remnants of a hurricane right now, man. So we've got some cool weather. It's dropped from some high numbers to now it's really comfortable at the moment. So I got my comfortable hat on, man, for you tonight.
Man, you're looking good.
Thank you.
Really good.
Thank you. I
tell you what, if it's not the habit of what's going on in the US, how about that? You got potential hurricanes and all that sort of stuff. The world is just different, eh? Different today for sure.
Man, it's so different, and I know that as we speak right now, we're dealing with the COVID-19 reality that all of us are affected by, and we all have our different viewpoints about it. I would love to believe that we have one totally universal viewpoint, which is to get back to where we were before this COVID-19 changed the world, to find a vaccine, to have people not live in fear, have the economy come back, have live venues be able to keep afloat while this is happening. You know, there's so many things going on. But yeah, man, you already know I can't tell you anymore, man. You know how difficult it is. I mean, I think there's a silver lining. And one of the silver linings is that we have time today to be able to talk. Normally I would be like, oh, Paul, you're gonna have to schedule my interview about a month in. And you know what I mean? But now a lot of us are home. A lot of us are utilizing whatever equipment we have to record or however we can get our music out or our ideas out. So yeah, man. Yeah. But how are you doing over there, by the way, man? Whenever I put on the news, they rarely talk about what's happening in Australia. So, I mean, I don't know what's happening over there for you.
Well, Matt, Christian, we were first lockdown, obviously in March when it took place. We sort of kept it in control, but we've just had an outbreak in this last 3 to 4 weeks. Again, when I say it's sort of quite a hefty in Victoria only. So in my state, the rest of the states are open. Borders are locked down, but they're open. But we're in a stage 4 lockdown here in Victoria, and that means is we can't go out. It's just essential shopping. You can't go to pubs, can't go to clubs, do anything like that. So we're in, anywhere the vicinity of 400 to 700 virus contractions a day. So we've got this community outbreak happening right now as we speak. And this is really what the Smooth Live Show has came about. It's about connecting with you guys because I can't go out, can't do a lot of radio, can't go out to, see shows and all that sort of thing. So, it's a really difficult time here in Victoria economically, health-wise. Our aged care systems are, falling. We've got a lot of problems here in Victoria, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. So you're not alone, man. You're not alone, Christian. It's here. It's around the world, So
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty detrimental. But you know what? Through that, I think if we can bring some positivity through meeting artists like yourself, I'm actually thrilled to have you on the show today. They call me Big New York, a collection of Latin, funk, soul, and rhythm and blues. Plus you have some original smooth jazz compositions. Top 50 listener charts, smoothjazz.com. You've got obviously number 4, The Big Tall Wish, number 49, top 100 indie charts. I mean, what a smash. Absolute great success on this album. How did the album project come about, Christian?
Well, I mean, it started 7 years ago. It started after the fallout of the Groove School Band, which was the first project. Actually, that project is what put me on a national stage because I played at the Capitol Jazz in 2006 with that band, and we went through transitions. But by 2010, we had a full-length album out, and we had a full lineup, and we sold out Blues Alley and did a lot of nice things as far as a resume is concerned. But it didn't last. It's just what happens whenever you have a band. I've been in over almost 36 bands in my life, all kinds of different music. And it was, it's always, it's like a deck of cards, right? Paul, you put those cards up together, you get so far, like one of those Jenga games or whatever, and then boom, everything just falls out. And so I was pretty much left on my own to start over again, and I did. I had my brother-in-law, Christopher Valentine, who was not only a producer but a writer, and so we started writing songs together. He sent me a couple of tracks, and the first track was a song that we both, and it's interesting that we both had a similar title in our head for the song, which was Good Old Days. He had something like old days or something. It was close to Good Old Days, and I was like, wow, man, I've got a melody and I've got a chorus, so what do you think? And we put it together, and I released it in 2015, but I didn't release it with money behind it. I didn't hire a radio promoter, which is how people like you really get a chance to hear our music. If you do everything independent, it's really it's a larger mountain, a higher mountain to climb that way, a long way around, So I released it. It gave me some attention, and then I released Latin Jive Redux after that, and that did very, very well for me. It did get on Billboard, but I think it just came close to the top 50. So I didn't hit big time on that, but I did hit number one for actually about 7 or 8 weeks in England on a independent radio station called the Morth FM.
Yes, correct.
So I did well with that, and then I released Spirit in the holiday season of 2018. Now, Spirit, in my opinion, really it meant a lot to me because it was supposed to be released earlier, and I had some health complications, and I had to get some surgery. I had a surgery done, and it postponed the project. And actually, because that happened, it's divine intervention, man. It's like I believe in the supernatural, so there was a reason why that happened. And when we returned to the song, it just became elevated because we added Eddie Bacchus Jr. last minute, and we added some new melodies and some new strings. And the song did very well for that Christmas season, and then it continued to go on into the 2019. The beginning of 2019, and it did. I was really happy with it. It went to number, I guess, 11 or 12 on Media Base, which, if Paul, you said you've been in the business for 20 years, so you kind of know the difference between all these different chart places: Radio Wave versus Nielsen versus BDS versus all of this. It's crazy. Yeah. So then after that, I released Throb. Throb got a lot of urban and college radio play, and it did score here in the USA on a platform. I guess you guys have a platform over there. I think do you deal with Sky FM over there? Is that your platform? No, right? That's not. What's your television carrier? What's your TV?
Oh, we've got Sky News. We have obviously CNN. We've got all the cable sort of networks and so on. But
do you have a streaming? Do you have a streaming music service in Australia?
Oh, we've got Spotify. We have all of the music streamers. Yeah.
Okay, this is different. This is a television channel that plays
MTV. We've got all that sort of thing. Yeah.
It's different. It's they've got like so many different stations, so many different music that you could watch on your television, and to get on there was a big deal for me. So the Throb got on there, and then I started. I actually had a sold out performance at Blues Alley, and I had the soft copy to give out to people at the performance,
Right.
just to make sure to see how they liked it. And everybody loved the CD. And I waited to release it, and I waited to do proper radio campaign with it. And Big Tall Wish was a smash. I mean, Big Tall Wish, to me, it was everything I wanted, man. It came out the way I wanted. The album came out the way I wanted. Of course, there's always discussion with various fans of this music, Paul. Some people like an entire CD to sound alike. You know, they kind of like each song to have the same kind of vibe.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm not like that. I'm not cut out of that cloth, man. Every story is individual. You know what I mean? It's like, every song had a different vibe. And what can I tell you, man, Paul? I mean, I'll be talking circles for days on this. I'm really happy, man. I can't complain about a thing, for real. I'm really happy.
Well, thanks for saying that, mate, because definitely every song has a vibe, and that's what I've picked up from the album. That's what I love about it. And you can bring it in. We played, your track on Friday, and just changing the elements of our Soul Session show, which was on the radio on Friday night here, because obviously today's Sunday morning. It's a different. Every song has its character, mate. You're 40 years bass player. I mean, you still, you look great. 40 years, mate, playing bass. I mean, are you any other areas of musical instrument that you play with, or is just predominantly the bass?
I really don't know how to play anything else, man. And I try. I have a keyboard here, and I work on some voicings or whatever. But I just found the bass for me to be something that's just going to be a lifelong journey of discovery and wonderment. And I mean, the world was so different in 1979 when I was 18 back then. I mean, who did we have back then as great bass players? Okay, we had Stanley Clarke, we had Jaco Pastorius, and we had a few other people. But really, when you think about it, the landscape of bass really was a small circle of bass superstars, and now today, look at how many years have passed, man. It's like unbelievable how many talented and creative bass artists are out there. And, and I love them all, man. I mean, I really love to hear how they hear, what they hear, what kind of melodies they hear, so yeah, man, it's amazing.
Mate, you graduated world famous Bass Institute of Technology, which I think is called today Musicians Institute, when you were 18. So you did some study.
When I went to that school, I just got out of high school. My major was cartooning and animation, and my dream was to draw for Marvel Comics. Actually, about 3 or 4 of my classmates still work for Marvel Comics, and but I knew I didn't have it, and somewhere down the line in my high school days, the bass came into my life, and actually in 9th grade. And right. I was a novice. I was a big Kiss fan, and a big hard rock, a really serious hard rocker. Yeah, big hard rocker, man. I mean, and and of course, you being from Australia, AC/DC, I even knew Budgie too, man. I mean, I got into so much rock and roll back then, but I was really a novice, man. I mean, I had difficulties teaching myself. I always look back at those days before Bass Institute as being something, something like I was a dabbler, so to speak, but when I went to BIT now, I got to tell you, man, that everybody on this planet right now, I would like to them, if they're listening to this conversation, I would like for them to try to imagine what it would be like to be in a room with, like, especially if you're a music lover, not just a bassist, but a music lover, to be in a room surrounded by legendary musicians that were really on the cutting edge of music back then. I mean, to be in a room with Ray Brown. Now Ray Brown is gone, but I mean, he's an upright bass player. He's a legendary bassist. But as a kid, I'm over here and I'm sitting in a chair in a room. Ray Brown is doing his thing, and then he'll give pointers and advice, and certain things stick with you. Certain things, of course, leave you. But just try to imagine being surrounded with so many. I'm talking about one or two. I'm talking about maybe a dozen or more great musicians, man.
Yeah.
And my only thing, Paul, I always joke about this, but I'm serious, man. I wish I had a time machine to go back, and I would pick those guys' brains, man, like eating chicken off the bone, man. I wouldn't leave a piece behind,
Now, let me ask Christian a question. What would be your probably top question that we would ask some of these guys, these great musicians? I'm sure there's one sentence or there's one question you'd ask them. What would it be?
Oh man, that's a great question. No one's ever asked me that before. I would pretty much ask them, what does it take to be on your level of musicianship? What exactly does it take? And I have the answer. I got the answer, man. I really do. It's a real easy answer, man. It's life. It's life, man. You have to embrace life.
Right.
You have to embrace the stories of your life, turn them into melodies. When you talk about great moments in your life, Paul, you tell me, give me a sentence right now that describes your life as a child. Give me one sentence.
Great, wonderful family, wonderful parents. Just enjoy, had food on the table, had a roof over our head, embrace each other, and that's really, as my childhood, I remember my mum and dad, they're both gone, passed on, but my family as a whole unit, I loved it, and I listened to the Beatles in those days. So
yeah. If you listen to the Beatles, I think you and I are close in age then. Because I did see the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. I was, I think, 4 years old, or something like that, 3 years old. But just in your story right there, so it's love, it's security, it's warmth, it's affection. Those words you could turn into notes of music. And if you repeat them in your head, those words, you'll start coming up with melodies, and that's the secret sauce right there, man. That's man. That's it. Yeah.
That's just wild, huh? Absolutely wild, mate. And it can continue to be such dynamics and in your delivery of artistry. You've been part of many groups all over the country, mate. I mean, you've got your catalogue. It's phenomenal. Like, I mean, Hawaii, New York City, Richmond, Virginia. Where would you like to go? I mean, tell us a little bit about the groups that you've been part of, but where would you like to come in to Melbourne, Australia? Would you like to play at the Java Jazz Festival in Indonesia? Or, where is some of your, aspirations to go and play?
Well, there's two places that I would like to play. Actually, there's more than two, but I would love to play in some place that connects me to my lineage, my roots. Now, I am of mixed descent. My mother's from Bulgaria. My family on my mother's side is from Bulgaria, and on my father's side is Peru. And and there's lots of family bloodline that goes all over, Latin and Central America, man. So it's like, I would love to play in those places, of course. Australia, to me, man, that's a big dream. Japan is real big dream.
Wow.
I've been to Rome before. I would love to play there. I would definitely love to play in Monaco. I mean, I traveled to Nice, and I stayed there for a little bit. Very short time, actually. It was 17-day cruise, man. But it wet my whistle. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and some of these places, man, oh my God, if I was able to stay there for a little time, maybe a couple of weeks or a month or whatever, just to really get the feeling and the vibe in my heart, in my soul of that location with the people and the food and all of that, I would create some really interesting music. So yes, I would love to be, of course, in those kind of places, man. Of course.
No, awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me, They Call Me Big New York. Let's talk about the album. And I know you've referenced it a little bit earlier, but I want to just jump back to the track Throb, 2019 release. And looking at the lineup, how do you source your artists that assist you on the albums? I mean, what's your picking program, or is it these are just great people that you've worked with? For instance, Eddie Bassist Jr. And Greg Boyer. You've got Christopher Valentine. I mean, you've even talked about some vocals with Carol Albert, Drew Davidson.
Yes.
Rob Hinn. Some great names in the business. I mean, absolute stellar artists. How do you align yourself with these guys?
Well, I do have a way of doing these kind of things. First of all, Facebook has been the conduit to reach out to everyone.
Yep.
And I mean, someone like Greg Boyer, by the way, who is popular in the Parliament Funkadelic and Maceo Parker history. He's somebody who lives in my area. So it was easy for me to reach out to him, but I did not know him. I knew of him, but I didn't know him personally. Almost every single person on my album, I recruited from Facebook or I knew personally. I had relationships with. Drew Davidson, he came to see me at Blues Alley when I was with Groove School. And we became friends, and we actually did a show in New York together. Yep. With Paula Atherton was a guest of his. Oh, yeah. And the thing about it for me is that you guys already kind of know so many of these artists' names, and you had no idea who I was. It was like I was doing this for all this time. I was playing this, playing with all these people before anybody knew who they were. I had a gig with Lindsay Webster. She just came on the scene. Laurie Williams is another one. Laurie Williams, I mean, I had Laurie with me with Groove School for a year or so. Wow. And of course, the reality is that every single artist have their own vision. They have their own story to tell. And you just, and what I've learned after 40 years of playing is I don't want to have a band anymore. I want people to want to play with me. And it can't be about money. And if it's about money, got to move on. If it's about prestige, you got to move on, because take a look at what's happening right now in the world. COVID-19 has made everything a level playing field. I don't care who you are. If you cannot do a show right now because nobody has the insurance, going to put insurance money up for you to perform, guess what? Yeah. So it doesn't matter. But most of these people that are with me on this album are my friends. I mean, I consider them my friends. I've had a long relationship with Curtis McCain, who's a great percussion player. He's played with a lot of people. He's on Will Donato's album. He's with Carol Albert. I've played with Elliot Levine, who has history with Heatwave. I played with Rob Malatek, who's a local sax player in this area, he's going to be coming out this year. He's got, I think he's got Kenny G's producer working on a track for him. So I'm hoping that that's going to come out and give him a spotlight soon. Soon, Paul, you're going to hear about this guy, Rob Malatek. But Rob has been like me. I mean, we've been doing this for so long, man, but we just didn't know how to promote ourselves properly, Yeah.
That you learn through the years of experience, but also the exposure today through technology, through the internet, through Facebook and all these, I guess, amazing sort of mediums gives you exposure. Christian would love to play the track Throb. I've got a video of it when we put that through. Again, it's your 8th track from the album. They call me Big New York. I love the name. You're larger than life, Christian de Mesones. You're absolutely larger than life, mate. It's absolutely amazing.
Hey, man, I'm 6'7".
Get out
and
of it.
I'm 6'7" with heels on.
Oh, the Peru.
No, I'm a little shy of 6'7", and I was about 400 pounds, and I go up and down, man. So I'm a big dude, man. Ain't no doubt about it.
Well, hang on to your horses. It's a Smooth Live show with Christian de Mesones, and they call him the Big New York, 6'7". That's amazing. You do look big on some of your videos, man. We're going to play the track from your current album. Hold on, we'll be back straight after this one.
Okay.
Here we go. Yeah, we're back here with Christian Dave Mesones, Big New York. He is, and that was just brilliant. That was Throb, and fantastic. Geez, the elements, the trombone, absolutely. You know, that the sounds are wild there, mate. Absolutely wild.
You like that?
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
Hey, I got to tell you something, man. It's I'm like a dinosaur. I'm over here with my finger. I don't know if you can see this right here. I am like trying to invite as many people as possible while we've been on the air, and I just I have to tell you a little secret, man, about that song. It's right now being reworked as a bass version, an electric bass version with 4 superstar bass players beside myself, and
Of course.
it'll be out before the year is up. I guess I'm going to release it as a single, but the truth of the matter is it's going to be a bass bombastic version where the saxes and the trombones will be out, and it's going to be all bass solos. So whoever is a bass fanatic, electric bass guitar fanatic, they are going to want to they're going to want to check it out. There's no doubt about it. And Paul, I hope you're one of the first people to air it on your show when it comes out.
100%. Okay. Lock me in there, man. Absolutely. And that talk, if I can jump over to that point about your shows, because I've got it as part of one of the questions I wanted to ask you about. I mean, it's just how amazing the Big New York and Smooth Jazz All-Stars features. You do these grand, big collaborations, you know, sort of big shows. Would you do something like this with the Throb song? Obviously, taking that with all of the, all the bass and so on. Would you do a little big show like that?
Well, first of all, I have to thank you very, very much for mentioning that. I believe that when Groove School was over, and I started with this whole Big New York thing, with the Big New York and the Smooth Jazz All-Stars concept, I actually felt like I was kind of in limbo, because I really felt that I was giving a platform to all these other people, and I really wanted to be something like an all for one for all, 3 Musketeers, or how many Musketeers there were, whatever. But I would love, if I had my way, I would do, if I had enough people to back me, a company that would back me, I would love to do maybe 8 cities, globally, whatever, and pay for these artists to come and do a grandstand kind of show like that. When or if I have the opportunity to play Throb live again, and I do the bass version, all of these bass superstars will be with me on stage, and they're great. They're friends of mine, so it's all I have to do is ask them, and they would be there, and it would pretty much blow your mind, Paul, to see 5 bass players on stage together do something with that music, that style of funky kind of urban go-go sound to it. Yeah. So thank you for that question, man. Paul, man, I got to tell you, bro, I'm going to have to, you got a donate button on your radio show. I'm going to have to send you some cheese, man. I'm telling you.
Radio. Thanks, guys. Give me some cheese, brother. Hey, let's talk about Hispanica. Deborah Galan, Spanish vocalist and songwriter. There's a bit of a sentiment to that song, I believe. It's very close to your heart. Tell us about it.
Oh, it's my favorite song on the album. One of the reasons why it's my favorite song on the album is because when I wrote it, I wrote all the music piece by piece. It didn't come to me overnight. I had 2 of the sections. I had the intro and the groove idea and the outro already written, and I had the melody. So it was really about, anytime I write any kind of music that has a Latin flair to it, I'm writing it to honor my father. I do it like, hey, Dad, hey, man, you think, my dad's not with me, but I'm like, I imagine in my mind, hey, Dad, man, I think you're going to like this song. And, and that's how I feel about it. So, but that particular song, to me at the time, I mean, in America, Hispanic community really get bashed. I mean, you know, we had the situation with the children being separated, the border situation, all of that, which I don't really want to get into at the moment because, you know, we had a victory with what happened with the Supreme Court and the DACA situation, and so, which was good news. But when I wrote it, things were bad in my opinion, and I reached out to Deborah Galan. I actually went to see her live. I heard her music on the radio. I heard her voice. I fell in love with her. I fell in love with her talent. I went to see her with my wife, and we immediately thought there was something special, something magical with her. And so I offered the song to her, and I told her to write some uplifting lyrics that would unify and unite the Hispanic community. And so she wrote something in Spanish, and I actually, we're kind of talking about how we want to market this song if we want to continue to push another single, because we definitely, unfortunately, Paul, I wish I was back in the 70s with Freddie Mercury, where I could fight with the record label saying, I want you to play this 9-minute Bohemian Rhapsody song on the radio, you know. Today, smooth jazz, a lot of people, only independent guys like yourself have the cojones to put on a 6-minute or 5, you know, or even a 9-minute song on your station, whereas other stations are complete format in the mindset, and they only want 3 minutes and 50 seconds for every single song. So I'm in the midst of probably releasing the song as a radio edit, and looking for the right kind of promoter. As a matter of fact, I have a meeting with the king of Latin jazz. I can't give you his name, but he's affiliated with all of the big Latin jazz stars. I have a meeting with him Monday, and we're going to discuss on if he's going to help me and what it's going to take to get this song into the right audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Oh, good luck. Yeah. Good luck with that, man. I mean, absolutely. Well, I think, mate, you know, it goes to stands to reason who you are as an operator, musician. You were spotlighted in the Jazziz magazine, Year of the Dragon, and I want to play that a little bit later, but we'll come back to it. But what happened there? What was so special about the Year of the Dragon?
That was the last song to be recorded on the album. You know, my goal was to have 10 songs, like the old days, man, when we bought our records, LPs, 5 songs aside, right? Yeah. So that was my goal. And so we had a live cut of, we had 2 songs that were recorded. Actually, they were recorded in mono, but they came out so good that I decided to put one of them on the album, which was Dekalb and Flatbush. And that song goes back to my groove school days. And so we kept that song. Actually, it was between that or Good Old Days. But since we already had Good Old Days on the album, I didn't want to be redundant. So we went with Dekalb. But Year of the Dragon was originally titled I Want What I Want When I Want It. And it was a joke because anybody who knows me personally knows that I have a few quirks. Besides being kind of a Sopranos type dude, I'm really a pussycat. I'm not about to bust heads, man, or anything like that over things. But I'm very, very persistent with what I want and how I want it done.
Fair enough.
And so what happened was the song was already written. My wife is the one who started. She heard me playing the slap bass line, and she was like, "Oh, you got to record that. You got to record that." I'm like, I'm always second guessing. I'm always pulling rank with my wife all the time. I'm like, yeah, get out. No. But she was right, and so I had a good song. I had the guts of a good song, but I saw this woman online on Facebook called Chao Tian, and she was playing a Yan Quinn, which is a Chinese dulcimer with the mallets, and immediately I thought of Bruce Lee, of course, and I thought of I believe I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Lalo Schriffen. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Who's a great composer. He's known in America for writing the TV movie theme, TV theme to Mission Impossible, and also he did Enter the Dragon. And so when this came together, and I invited Chow Tien, I invited another percussion player by the name of Tom Teasley, and he is a world percussion player. He's very unique in his vision. And so I got them in the studio with another producer by the name of Maurice Chevalier. And I asked Maurice, I said, would you like to write the song with me? I've got the guts, I've got the groove, I got the changes, I got everything. I need a melody, I need some keyboard voicings, this is what I need. So Maurice put the trumpet line together and the strings, and produced the track for me. And last but not least was Dave Howard on guitar, who is a recording artist, a Berkeley teacher who's retiring soon. And he gave me, I told him I want some Larry Carlton, Lee Ritenour scratching from you. And he gave me some nice riffs. Nice. And I got, what can I tell you, Paul? I mean, I know I'm talking too much right now, right? What can I say, man? I mean, it's, it's something of amazement for me, because I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. I know I'm a great slap player. I mean, I sound very unhumble, but I mean, believe me, I'm very critical of myself. And I've already known way back in the day that I had great foundation when it came to slap technique. I was basically taught one-on-one by Louis Johnson of the Brothers Johnson and Tim Bogart from Vanilla Fudge. Now, tell me, how diverse can you get from two sides of the coin from that, Wow. So I already had that. I knew it, but I don't want to be known as a slap guy.
No.
But guess what, man? That song came out, and oh my God, everybody, especially the UK, all my followers in the UK, man, they want me to do a whole album.
Wow.
Of that.
Well, I want to play it because I think it's fitting for us to really showcase again just the mastery behind this track, and just as you talked about the riffs and the dulcimer and stuff like that. So let's bring that in. We're here with Christian de Mesones, Big New York, they call him, and this is the album, and we really love this album on the Smooth Live Show. So let's have a go at it.
Thanks.
How good was that? Smooth Live show with Christian de Mesones. They call him Big New York. G'day, are you there?
Yeah.
Year of the Dragon, man. It's mate, brilliant. Absolute brilliant. Can I say something, mate? Can I just say something?
Yes.
I would love to be a part of that live, seeing that live. I mean, that would be a dream of mine. And I'm not just saying that, but when you just hear the collection of all those sounds, and just to see you guys on the stage, it'd just be brilliant. I'm in Australia, mate. Remember, I'm down under. Love to check that out. That'd be sensational. Brilliant, mate. Brilliant.
Well, you know, music lovers, man, in your neck of the woods, man, are fierce. I remember hearing a story about how Barry White came to perform for you guys, and I think he wasn't 100%, and he didn't do a great performance. I think his health was failing, but I mean, you know, you guys don't let anything go, man. I mean, you know, you expect the best. I mean, you're like Kiss fans, man. You wanted the best, you got the best. The hottest band in the land, you know. So,
well, they come and played the Grand Prix just a couple of years back, and it was just epic. I mean, you just see these guys. I haven't seen them live, but you know, I've done Phil Collins, Genesis, Peter Gabriel. You know, I've seen Lee Ritenour. You know, Larry Carlton, all that sort of stuff. But like, you know, I think we etch for it because we're so far away. We don't always get the guests, you know, artists coming out to Australia all the time. So it's just like, wow, you know. But yeah, no, awesome, man. That was great. So Year of the Dragon, certainly one of my favorites, mate. Thank you. That's amazing.
Hey, can I interrupt you for 1 second, man? All
Sure.
right. I just want to give a shout out to the people who are in listening to this interview, because I never get a chance to do that.
Okay.
Basically, because I'm thunder thumbs, man. Like, you know, I have a hard time chewing gum and walking at the same time, man. So I just want to give a shout out to Stella Hoffman and Heidi Tan, Terry Scott, and Joe Bones, you know, who I haven't seen in about 40 years, Marilyn James, Wilbert Anderson, a great bass player, Bob Schneider, Veronica McCreary, Kerry Lathan Sr., who does a lot for the bass community, Woody Lingle, TPG Lewis, who is a friend of mine on Facebook. She's wonderful. Deborah Lord D'Agostino, who I was just actually talking about 15 minutes ago, or maybe 30 minutes ago, when I was watching the Spider-Man movie, and there was a scene in the Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 2, where Doc Octopus was, you know, in front of a D'Agostino's, and it made me think about my hometown, New York. And Frank Ream, who actually had something to do with the graphic arts of the album on the booklet page, David Howard, Charles Sanders, Terry Parham, Fred Levine, who just recently came back into my life after 40 years, Nilda, a co-worker of mine, Charles Thompson, Sherry Ann Yesavides, who is a high school friend of mine. I mean, I don't want to miss anybody. I got Ultimate Entertainment. Thank you, Charles. Kate Jackson, Jim Cirillo, Maria Celeste Mora Hunt, who I met at a Kenny G concert. And by the way, because she's listening today, I'm going to tell you, along with her, that one of the guest bass players on the new remix of Throb, the bass boombastic version, is the one and only Vale Johnson from Kenny G. So, so you know what I mean? So anyway, okay, I'm going to get back to the conversation. I'm so sorry. Oh, Doc Hardy. Love Doc Hardy, man. He's been in my corner for, my wife is watching from the other room. I got to send a wave. Thank you, wifey. Okay, now I'm back. I'm all yours, Paul. I'm sorry.
You've done the work for me. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Thank you for everyone for watching as well. I mean, how great it is. But you deserve the time, mate, without a doubt. And I thank you for the time today. Musical influences. Let me just spotlight you. A little bit of a billboard moment here. Dave Koz, Lounge, Watercolors, Sirius XM. He actually quotes, Dave Koz quotes, "Remember that name. I think he's going to be around for a while." Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when I moved from Richmond, Virginia, I moved from New York to Richmond, Virginia to Washington, D.C. In 2000. And I took a job working for a record store chain called Kent Mill Music in the Washington, D.C. area, what we call the DMV. And because of that job, I had moments where I did in-stores because I was the manager, and I did promotions with artists. And one of the artists I did was it's amazing how many different artists I've actually sold music for. I mean, I sold music for Rochelle Farrell at Blues Alley, and at the Capitol Jazz for 2 or 3 years in a row. I sold CDs for all of these artists that you know, that you love. And one of them was Dave Koz and Michael McDonald, and Norman Brown. But I really, I like Dave Koz because I grew up watching the Arsenio Hall. Well, I don't want to say grew up because I was already grown up, but I watched Arsenio Hall show here in the States, and Dave Koz was a band director and featured sax player, and that's where I remember him from. And when I finally met him at the Capitol Jazz, we had a rapport, and I asked him if I could help him sell his CD, which was called at the time The Dance, which is my favorite Dave Koz album. And I helped him by giving away signed autographed posters of him and stuff like that. Nice. And so I actually reached out to Dave, and I told him that I lost my job in the music business, that I had to start all over again, and I'm now finally recording music, and I've got a song on the charts called Big Tall Wish. Would you like to hear it? I didn't even ask him anything about spotlighting or anything. I just asked him if he would like to hear it and if he even remembered me. Yeah. And he remembered me right away. And he said, I would like to play this on my show. No. And so, yeah. And so what a nice guy he is, man. I love that dude.
Yeah, for real. Cool. Very cool. Definitely one of the fathers of Smooth. Mate, on that point, Christian, where do we get your music? How can we buy your music? How can people launch out? I mean, I've put up some socials here for you in regards to Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. But where can we buy this current album? Where should we go?
I can tell you right now that if anybody wants a physical CD, which I think is the way to go. I mean, you really don't know when you're going to get to see any of us live. It might be 3 months, 6 months, a year. We don't know. But if you want a physical CD, Amazon was really the only one besides CD Baby that sold the physical hard copy of the CD. If you want to digitally download it, it's available on every single site all over the world. So no matter what your platform is, you'll be able to find it. That's not a problem. But if you want to buy directly from me, the only choice you got is Amazon, which is sold out right now. They don't have any copies. I just mailed them 5 copies. So they'll probably have it up online next week. But you can go visit me at www.bignybassworld.com or bignybass.com. However you look, whatever's easier for you to remember. And go to store, and you can, I take PayPal. I don't have my Cash App or my Zelle connected to that website, but if you want to inbox me on Facebook, you can always inbox me. I do have a bunch of pages. I have my own personal Facebook page under my name, and I also have one called Big New York. And I can tell you what, if you guys, if you haven't like that page. Please like that page. I would greatly appreciate if you like that Facebook page for me. And I will sign the CD for you now. In the States, it's $20. But if it's going to Australia, if it's going to Japan, I pretty much flat rated it at 35 because it costs about anywhere between $11 to $17 to mail out of the States. And right now, because of COVID-19, it actually takes longer. So yeah.
Big New York, question for you. What in this current climate, being an independent artist, would you do vinyl? Is vinyl because there seems to be a resurgence of vinyl at the moment, isn't it?
I want to do vinyl. This is what I really want to do. I've been told I'm crazy, but what I really wanted to do was do a I wanted to release Throb, the new remix, on vinyl for DJs so they can actually paste all the different parts together. I would love to have every single individual line that they can isolate for themselves so they can create their own tracks. That, of course, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I mean, I just, that's something that actually probably would turn out to be more of a promotional item. I could probably do that on my SoundCloud account. I don't use SoundCloud that often, but I probably could do that on the SoundCloud account. But I would also, of course, love to do a double live album like Kiss Alive, man. Just have the folder thing out there, man, and have all the photographs and have the confetti, man, from the show, man, and have a like back in the day, Kiss had a gun for their Love Gun album. You were able to shoot a gun or something. I don't know what I'd have. Maybe I'd have I don't know what I would have. Something, maybe a T-shirt, a sticker, iron on, man. Or something. I'm a kid. What can I tell you? I'm a Toys R Us kid. What can I tell you?
Oh, way to go. Way to go. Christian de Mesones, Big New York. I love it. Absolutely love it. Hey, tell us what's on the radar for 2021. We know we're in this current climate, but we've got to look out of that. What are you doing? I know you've talked a little bit about some work on re-imaging and so on, but what some big things happening for you for 2021? New album coming out. You've got what's on the spark?
I try to. I really, man. I told my wife. I said I've got to think outside of the box and do some things. And I took out all my bass instructional books. I'm one of those guys that if I see something online that has information about music, I'll buy a book. I'll buy the book, and what happens is I get the book, I open the book, I read the first page, and then I put the book away, So I'm going through a lot of my instructional information to create a live YouTube, bass lessons. And I'm not actually, I'd like to try to get back to teaching more, which is what at one time, man, I actually had 4 jobs. I was playing in church every Sunday. I was teaching 3 nights a week. I was driving a school bus during the day, man. And I had my band. It was a busy life. So I've slowed down a lot. Yeah. And not to sound like I'm complaining about it, but I really think that the reason how this album came to be is because I slowed down, because I don't think that I would have finished this album if it wasn't for those things. So, divine intervention,
So I guess it's probably prompt time now, mate, to ask you, what would be something surprising about you, Christian de Mesones?
Okay. I don't know if I should tell you this, man. I don't know if I should tell you this. I'll tell you, I've got 2 stories, but I'll tell you, but because I want to tell it so bad, but you'll probably have to read it in my bio when I'm older. But just to let you know that I made comic book history by my image being drawn and portrayed in a DC comic book by the name Firestorm. Firestorm is a DC character, and it was issue number 54. It came out in 1984. And I was this character by the name of Steve Brockman. I had superpowers. I had this subsonic guitar that hypnotized people. And, the fact that I was in a comic book with my image and likeness
Wow.
by a famous comic book illustrator is pretty awesome. So,
Wow.
that's the family version. I'll save the adult version much later.
Tell me one.
I'll tell you when we're off the air. I'll tell you.
Tell me off. Well, there you go. Something about that. Well, look, we're coming to the point. Great time together. Again, Christian, thank you for your time. But as we draw closer to, I guess, the close, it's just been epic, mate. I really appreciate it. Bring it home. It's a couple of one-liners. All right. Abraham Laboriel. One line, one sentence.
Jaw dropping.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Lindsay Webster.
I would have to say unique.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. I think we spoke throughout the program around some of your musical influences. Well, I guess the people you've highlighted and be part of. Who is a couple of outstanding influences in your life? I mean, I'm sure there's where you can put your finger on and say, well, that person has done this in my life. That person has done that. Who would be a couple of your mainstay, number one influences in music?
Oh, in music. Oh, you mean? You want to clarify that? You want in music or in life?
Musical influences.
Okay. Probably as far as bass players are concerned, Jaco Pastorius will always be my number one bassist because Jaco, to me, is an incredible songwriter. And the intervals and voicings that he hears is incredible. So Jaco would be number one for me as far as musical influence. And short story, but I did get to meet Jaco in 1984 or 83 in New York City, and I became friends with him. When I was driving a taxi in New York, I used to drive him to gigs, and I've got great stories about Jaco. So I feel very fortunate and amazing on how life is because I went to see Jaco with Weather Report in 1979 at the Pasadena Civic Auditorium, promoting Heavy Weather album, and so the fact that he was in my life, it blows my mind. So so Jaco is definitely one. Now I'm going to do the other one, and you're going to go, why in the world would you bring this person's name up? You're going to say, what is the matter with you, Big New York? Something, you're going to say that. But I'm going to tell you that as far as bass, we're talking about bass players, all right? Gene Simmons will always be the guy who started it all for me. I'm sorry, man.
I mean, that Big New York.
Do you have any idea how much hate, how much trolling I get online when I share anything about Gene Simmons, and especially in the bass communities on Facebook? Oh man, I can't share nothing about Gene Simmons, man. I mean, I'm not talking about his political views. I'm not talking about his arrogance because I didn't get to meet Gene Simmons also, and that's another story I'm not going to share. But he's the reason why I picked up the bass. So Gene Simmons, and then as far as someone who's not a bass player, I have to say that the first person that comes to mind that is not a bass player is going to be Keith Emerson of Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Okay.
And the reason why Keith, first of all, I don't think like Keith he's no longer with us, but I dug one serious thing about Keith Emerson, and he was a showman and a classical genius. So his level of musicianship was, man, beyond. It was on another level. And this guy could stand up to, like, you know, Leonard Bernstein or all these great people.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so I have to say, and I did meet, by the way, I met Keith Emerson. That one of the greatest moments is meeting Keith Emerson in my life. I'm very happy that I got to meet Keith Emerson. And it was the first time. There were only two people in my life where I actually shut my mouth. I just didn't know what to say. Only two. One of them was Keith Emerson, and the other one was Jim Henson. Jim Henson, who, you know, the creator of the Muppets.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unreal. And that'd be hard to shut you up because you've got a story to tell, mate. Big New York. You've got a story to tell.
Chop. Yes.
Well, I'm going to give you a couple seconds left to just give us a quick wrap up on your where do we get your music again, just really quickly for the audience, because I want them to go out and buy They Call Me Big New York. Excellent album. Go out and get it. I love it, mate, and I'm looking forward to really putting a showcase on radio on my Smooth Friday live show for that, but additionally to it. But, you know, a credit to you, mate, and a credit to your background, a credit to the shows that you've done, Big New York and the Smooth Jazz All-Stars, They Call Me Big New York, CD release, you know, Second Street Festival, all these things that you've been part of, and your background. It's a testament to who you are, Christian de Mesones. Congratulations. Absolutely.
Hey, man, one thing. Before we get off the air, man, I have a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Why do they call you Toothpicks?
Oh, everyone asks that question. Well, let me just say, chicken, food, meetings, toothpicks. So if you see me whilst I'm doing my radio show, I've always got a toothpick in my mouth whilst I'm doing it, and that's coming live. So.
Okay. All right. That's good to know, man. All right. So that means I can send you some, we got something over here called Bonchon, man. They make this incredible chicken, man. I'm going to have to FedEx it overnight to you, man.
FedEx to me. Mate, have you heard of the brand Nando's?
No.
Nando's Curry. So it's Portuguese, South African brand. I was worked with them for a number of years, and I'm sort of a senior management role, and I'd always have meetings. It's global brand, but in Australia, and we'd always have a meeting and we'd eat chicken because that's what formerly was the basis of our business. And I always had toothpicks in it. Before, not too long after starting, it was like, hey, Paul, Toothpicks Coory, and I've kept the name. So, you know, I'll leave it at that.
Okay, man, because, you know, I can come up with stories now, you know, but I'll leave it alone.
Mate,
I'll leave it alone.
Do it, Kevin.
You can't take me anywhere. What can I tell you, man? What can I tell you?
You're an epic character. I love you. I'm absolutely so nice to have you on the show. The Smooth Live show. It's just been sensational. I've probably gone a little bit over time, and I apologize if I have. But I'm sure there's another couple of hours with you and discussing music and your journey and stuff. But mate, great success. I want to finish off on the show with playing this track and thinking about it. The Spirit. I'm sure I got hold of the spirit of this song of the Spirit in 2018, and I started playing it on my show, on the radio show, because my radio show has been going on for 9 years. But wait.
Are you telling me that you played my music 2 years ago, and we just got to become friends on Facebook this month? How did that happen?
You didn't add me as a friend. I mean, what happened?
How did that happen, man?
Well, you know what they say, good things take time. So like anything, you know, and I don't know, it's weird, but I find that I hear music later than when it should be. So I appreciate it. And I think that's even more exciting because it really just goes back to show the quality of the artists and the music. And I was playing it in 2018, mate, because I've got it downloaded and it's here and it's on my show. So I'm going to pull out one of the shows. I'm going to send it to you.
Man, I've got to tell you before, you know, I am so thankful to be on your show tonight. And This was a great conversation. I think we achieved some magic today. I know I talk a lot, but hey, just think about it. I feel like I've got 40 years of stories to try to fit into a 30-minute or 20-minute segment. I know we've gone over time, but I really appreciate your support, your enthusiasm. I hope one day that you and I could break bread in Melbourne. You could show me around. I hope that day does happen. And before I get off, I want to really tell everybody who is watching right now. I try to mention everybody's name. There were so many people that I mentioned, but I am just so like Tang. Yeah, man, Tang. Hi, Tang. I don't know how to pronounce her name correctly. Chalafant. What a lovely name, by the way, Tang Chalafant. I hope I've got that right. But just the fact that you're with me tonight, listening live, and because I do know how hard it is, man. I mean, even with the COVID situation, we have more time, but I mean, we have a hard time just being able to focus on one thing, man. We're all over the place, right? And thank you. I thank you for. I thank all of you for your support sincerely, man. And I'm just like, man, thank you very, very much, man. That's all I can say. I don't want to start crying right now, but I'm going to kid. I'm not going to cry. I'm good. I'm good.
Big bold character. Big New York, they call him. Christian de Mesones, mate. It's been absolutely epic. We're excited. You're going to be able to check this on the YouTube channel at SmoothJazz.Melbourne, and it's all on Facebook on my personal one, Paul Toothpicks Coory, as well as our Smooth Jazz Melbourne. Check it out, mate. Love to keep in contact and definitely showcase your music, mate. We're going to finish off with the single from the album. They call me Big New York. I love it. The Spirit, and this is a classic. I mean, it's dynamic, and every tune on that album is so different and so wonderful. So I want to finish off with The Spirit, and we'll see you next time on the Smooth Live show. Lots of guests coming up, but I tell you, you're amazing, fantastic. I think you said you wanted to say something there. I'm going to give you one more second, and then we're going to go. You're okay?
Yes, one more second. I love my wife, and I want to tell the world I'm crazy about her because she is spoiling the living daylights out of me. We have been quarantined for 6 months now. And, we're coming up on, oh boy, I'm going to get in trouble now. I think it's our 12th year wedding anniversary coming up August 18th. And I just wish I can shower her and give her everything that she gives me because she's great. She's a great person. So, hey, to everybody, have a great evening. Thank you. Thank you, Paul Toothpicks. I really appreciate that. And your last name is pronounced Coory? Coory? How do you pronounce it? Coory. Okay, yeah, I got you.
You got it right.
I
got family in Cleveland. Yeah, you can check them out. All right, we're going to finish off with The Spirit from They Call Me Big New York, Christian de Mesones, and they call him, as I said, Big New York. Check this one out. This is just beautiful.